AronRa. I started it 2 days ago, no, I guess a day ago, in response to him, what he wrote on Patheos, which is, I guess it's a religious-minded website. It seems to be leaning towards atheism, and they have like a vetting process, it seems like, for their authors. So it seems like a collective of, I would say, anti-theist mostly views. I don't go here a lot, so I don't know a lot about it. But from what I do, when I do a search here, and I look for something that's related to theism or Christianity or other religions, it seems to have more of an anti-theist twist to it. So anyway, this guy wrote an open letter to me and telling me that we have a failure to communicate. And one thing I've noticed about AronRa, and the reason why I pressed him recently to do this interview with me, is that since December, he's been asking me to do this interview thing. But there's been a few things lacking that I've been pressing him on. Is one, what is the whole dynamic? What are we talking about? Is this a debate? Is this a discussion? Is this an ambush? What are the perimeters? Will there be a moderator? What is the rest of this going to be about? I know what it started out as, but what is it going to be about during the interview? And he's never answered what the interview or the discussion or the debate is about, or whether it's formal or informal. And that's been going on for almost 3 months, I guess a little over 2 months anyway. And then next, I've asked for date, time, and forum. I've asked, where are we going to do this? What medium are we going to use? I told him that mostly I'm limited to Skype, so I don't have, the use of my laptop for the most part. But now I've got the hard drive replaced. I just had to replace this disk drive, this HDD, with an SDD. So hopefully I won't lose any more drives. The SDD should be resilient to all of the bumping and banging as we travel. Since we've been displaced from our home in Puerto Rico due to the storm, we're doing a lot of traveling. So I've lost multiple phones, multiple laptops, and a lot of technology and everything else I own for the most part. So we're just kind of hobos right now while we get back to what we were doing before, and who knows when that'll be. But anyway, he's never responded. He keeps pressing me on this. He's never responded. And I've kind of figured this out. I just wanted to show why this was really important to him, that he wrote a 6,000 or 7,000 word response, not to mention the discussions that we've had on YouTube, which I've calculated to be, one discussion alone was 7,500 words, 41,000 characters. And that was just on one video of like 6 that we've went back and forth on. So we've wrote a novel's worth of information here, but I figured it out. And now I get what he is upset about. And this is my response to him. Like I said, I just finished it up. I started a response, and I told in the video that I made to document this that I would be continuing it at a later time. And now I have nothing more to add. I've totally finished it. But let's just go to the nitty-gritty here. I know why it is that that Aron is so upset with me, someone who doesn't even make religious videos or videos on evolution very often. For example, I have 7 YouTube accounts. I have over 2,000 videos. I have less than 10 videos on evolution or religion, and most of those, well, unless you include me talking about Mormonism, which I have a few of those on one channel, but I would say in all I have about 20 videos that discuss anything about religion whatsoever. And I would say more than half of those have been made since December of 2017, so in the last 2.5 months. So why he's so concerned with discussing this with me is because of a post that I made in 2011, which I've referred him to in regards to saying that atheism is religion. And it's not just defined by me or by other non-atheist people. It's defined by the dictionary, and multiple dictionaries, as well as the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. So he says, what is the definition of religion? How is atheism he says, you keep repeating this lie about atheism being a religion. You cited one dictionary's erroneous comment and ignored the consensus of others, which all show why your one is wrong. That is called cherry picking. And I said, in my response here, I said, I also illustrated other religious examples of atheism, such as the League of Belligerent Atheists from Russia, World War II. I think your religion is very well used in the dictionary. I'm sorry. I think your devotion and fervent activism to atheism is the very definition of religion in very well used dictionaries. However, a few very highly regarded dictionaries also list agnosticism and atheism as religion. Also, the Seventh Circuit Court considers atheism a religion. So linguistically and legally, atheism is a religion. It doesn't matter if you agree. I'm not concerned with how much you hate religion. It is a fact that you have become that with what you hate. And so going back to this, you can see the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals holds that atheism is a religion in Kaufman versus McCarty. And in my link here, which I've got links all throughout the article that I wrote in response to him, but you can see here that I've defined it in multiple ways here from multiple dictionaries. So Webster's Third International Dictionary 1971 lists religion as a cause, a principle, system of tenets held with adored devotion, conscientiousness, and faith, a value held to supreme importance. Now that defines atheism, agnosticism to me, in at least some regards, these people that are very devoted. But this one definitely does, especially with the case of AronRa and people like him. 7b, a quality, a condition, a custom, a thing inspiring zealous devotion, conscientious maintenance, and cherishing. And then if we look at the Advanced Oxford Learner's Dictionary, atheism is even defined as religion, which Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary is one of the first, I think it is the first international dictionary to help new English learners learn English. And it's well regarded with high ratings. And it says to become a believer, an atheist, an agnostic, a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, etc. And then, I show this right here, this militant atheism, League of Militant Atheists from the USSR. That's something you should look up if you want to see a set of tenets, a devotion, a requirement, of beliefs and such. I mean, that's what these people required in their, example of atheism. So, I mean, that's basically religion to me. And in every way that a religion is a religion, that is a religion to me. If some people would say that religion requires belief in God, that's wrong. That's not at all what religion is. That is maybe a theistic religion, but that's not just what defines religion. That's not the only definition of religion. And I proved that here in many different dictionaries and encyclopedia. You can look it up there as well, and other places, and examples in history. So I want to show you why this was important. I'm not going to go into my 7,000 word response or whatever, because it is painfully long, and it's hard for me to get through it all myself. But he keeps saying, first of all, he says that I keep dodging him or whatever on this. And, I've shown examples here, like where I've responded to him, asking him when. This was back in December. Let me know. He never told me. He told me he was going to be in Amsterdam. He didn't tell me when or, how long or whatever. So I told him, hey, I'll get a ticket early. I'll meet you out there. And he never responded. So then I found this video because he never responded. This was like 4 days after he told me he'd be in Amsterdam, and I booked my ticket early. And I said, I didn't see your schedule until now. Thanks for the offer to do a video chat. We are traveling now. I get settled on January 12th. Let me know. As you can see, I mean, this is his video. I can't control what comments show up on his video. He never replied. You can see this was from a month ago. So him saying that I've dodged him is absolutely wrong. Let's see. He says, oh yeah, when are we going to do that podcast? Give me a date and time. And so this is where I went and explained to him that, first of all, he's never told me what it's going to be about, where it's going to be, what date or what time. I mean, he's the one asking for it, but he's not giving any details. And he says, you gave me your email address, so I sent you an email. That is the appropriate way to schedule a time to share a Hangout link. Did you really expect me to do that in the comments of your video? And so, oh, and he says, check your email, answer it, and not by making another video. And I said, you started coming to my videos, or said, since you started coming to my videos, you have avoided over a dozen questions. The latest is, what do you want to debate? I'd be happy to debate you about existential and real topics, but it is not, this silly narcissistic topic about you lied about me, or your silly word salad bullshit about volcanism, which is a distraction. I did invite you to Google Hangouts and waited for hours for your response until it was near 3 a.m. My phone was dying. It was 8 p.m. your time, and it is 3 a.m. my time. And by the way, I made far less video responses yesterday to you as you made text responses to me. Your problem isn't the amount of responses, it's the medium in which they are delivered. Well, yesterday I waited for 17 hours for you to meet me online for a debate. So in the meantime, I responded to your 13 posts about me. You need to answer my questions if you expect me to answer yours. You can see I made a video last night showing that I had waited 17 hours until 3 a.m. and during 13 of your text posts waiting for you to set this meeting up. Then my phone dies during the video. So yeah, I set the meeting up finally. I went to Google Hangouts. I sent him an email, told him, hey, come on, let's do this. Meanwhile, he's responding continuously on my videos for, hours, all day, but won't meet me. And now he's saying that I've ducked out. Well, he said this about other people, like Ken Ham. He's like, Ken Ham refused to debate me. I can only imagine it was something similar to what I went through with Aron, where Aron plays this game of like, well, meet me and, let's do this debate, but then never sets it up or never, fulfills any of his obligations. If he's proposing the debate, he should set it up. He can go to my website. If he doesn't want to leave a comment in the videos, in the, public forum, he can go to my website, send me a message. He can send me a private message on YouTube. If he wants the debate, he needs to set it up. So I imagine it was something like that with Ken Ham. I don't know, but this is where he's, pigeoning around on the chessboard, knocking over the pieces and saying, I won. And this is AronRa for you. And that's what he does. But this is why he's so upset with me, is that I would call atheism a religion, even though it absolutely is. Linguistically, legally, it is a religion. But when someone says that atheism is a religion, he gets pissed off. And I'm going to explain why.
Your religious worldview, except we don't have a religious worldview. I just demonstrated that. He has to lie about this. Do you believe that we came from an ape-like ancestor? Can I prove right now that we are still apes? Yes.
Oh, good Lord. And see how mad he got, like where he's like putting his finger right up in this guy's face. I don't know who this guy is exactly, but Hovind. Oh, I think this is, but yeah, he doesn't like being called a religion.
Except we don't have a religious worldview. I just demonstrated that. He has to lie about this.
So the fact is that atheism is most certainly a religion. And like I've described, the ism part is the system part. The beliefs in this system and this devotion to this system is the religious part. But here's why. And it has a lot to do with this museum thing, is that now that the public education system is funded by the federal government.
So give me some reason, because right now I haven't heard any reason. All you said is I object. Yes. So I haven't heard any reason.
And why are you guys here?
I understand that.
Slices it to a reason, comes up making you look dumb. That's his job, is to make you look dumb.
I understand that.
Well, here, you make us look dumb then. You guys go ahead.
You don't need my help.
Yeah. So you don't want a dialogue about this, Aron? You don't want any dialogue
I only
about
talk
why
to
are you
sincere
protesting?
people. You're a professional criminal.
Okay, there's a lot of cameras around here. No, that's not true.
You're a con
So
man.
I'm a professional criminal,
Yeah,
is your
you're a
claim.
scammer.
So we've got an
If
ad
there was a
hominem
market-
attack so
if there
far.
was
Do you
a-
have anything debate-worthy? Why do you object to the
for
art?
snake oil, you'd be on that market.
So why do you object to the art?
Because it's immoral to lie to children.
I agree that it's immoral to lie to children. Now, they're
And
not lying to
that
children.
we know that art never happened.
Actually, we do.
Actually, we do know that it never happened.
No, we know that
We
it
can
actually
prove
did happen.
that it did not happen. And I'm not having this
Okay,
argument.
give me some details on that, because give me some data on that. I mean, I could make the statement, I know it did happen. You're making the statement, I know it did happen.
Well,
Now,
I know
if you'd
that it
like,
didn't happen
Aron,
because I can show you
I
it
will
didn't happen.
pay for you to go through that ark and show you the scientific evidence that is there in that ark. Would you like to walk through that with me? I will pay for you. I'll pay for you and for your wife.
So the steel rivets.
I'll let somebody else take you through.
All of the modern plain wood.
I'll let somebody else take you
cranes,
through.
the trucks.
You know
all
what?
This. As opposed
At
to
12
one
o'clock, we're going to
600-year-old
have
man
an expert
with
on
3
the ark
untrained
here.
laborers
Will you
using
engage
only
with the
primitive
discussion
tools
with
from
me?
the Stone Age
Now, how do you know
to
that?
have 1,400 breeding pairs at least.
How do you know that?
Which is supposed to be a hell of a lot more. But you know, young Earth creationists don't believe in macroevolution over millions of years, but somehow they do believe in a turbocharged, super, uber, hyper-caffeinated electro-mega evolution
So
happening
you
in only
are
100
willing
years.
to go through that and disprove all the science that's in there? Because
There's
you're a
no
man of
science
science,
in
right?
there.
You like science?
Right, there's no science in
I
there.
love science too. I got
That's
one
a
of my
favor.
signs here that says Christians love science. I love science.
That's an
Would
irony.
you-
No,
would
you do not. You absolutely do not love science. We're
Okay,
anti-science.
if I said
activists.
that to you, well, Aron, you
So
don't
if you
love
want to
science.
demonstrate how
All you're
realistic the
doing is
flood
making
isn't,
statements here. Let's really
have the
dialogue.
1,400 animals, live
Let's
animals,
really dialogue.
not 40 stuffed animals. Have 1,400 live animals. Have a year's supply of fresh water without purifiers.
It
Have
rained
a
for
year's
40 days and 40 nights. There's plenty
on
of fresh
salted
water
water.
around now.
Yeah, and it only rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and they were afloat for a year. So that means they have to have a year's supply of fresh water. Because there's also a lot of dead things now all over the water, so you have to have fresh water.
a
So on top of
big
that, you
flood
also have...
worldwide.
Yeah, I know.
Plenty of fresh
It was an
water.
impossible flood that we know didn't happen.
No,
we know
we
that
didn't.
from
We know
genetic
that it
tests
did happen.
and multiple analyses of associated artifacts, we know that
Mitochondrial
people in the
Y
Western
chromosome
continents,
atom,
the
we
Native
know we all
Americans,
came from one
were
kind.
already
We know
there thousands of years before any date given for the
So
flood.
do you want any civil dialogue or no?
And so we know
None?
that those people are still there, were never drowned out. The Egyptians, too, they didn't drown either. They went right into their second dynasty, as
Do you
if it never
realize
even happened.
there are 350 legends of the flood around the world
And there's
today.
not one in
Every
Japan,
single
because Japan
culture
never had a flood
has a
legend
legend
like
of the
that.
flood.
But the
So
legends
this
that
is
they do have are all
interesting. This
different.
provides
Like
evidence
in
that
one
God's word
where
is
you
true.
have people turning into fish and then turning back into people, and then another one where 2 people only, and no animals survive this one. There's only 2 people who survive by hiding in a clamshell. So the flood legends are all different, except
You know what?
Except
They
when you
address
get
that
into
in
the area
You wanna
of
go
the
look at that with me?
Iraqi floodplain, which is called Iraqi floodplain for a reason.
Do you
Because
want
it
to go
flooded.
address the flood that with me in the
The
ark?
Bible says that the depth of the flood, the Bible says that the depth of the flood was 15 cubits or 22 feet, which is the same depth that is given in the Epic of Gilgamesh and
And
Atrahasis.
the federal government cannot support any religious views that they have, pushed any kind of religious teachings out of school. And now, in place of that, they're putting pseudoscience, such as what AronRa, puts up and props up as a alternative, such as abiogenesis is the origins of life, which is, a Darwinian teaching. I don't think Darwin used that term, but that's what it is. I mean, abiogenesis has no proof, no plausibility, and AronRa, as I've demonstrated, says that we don't know how life began. And I'll put the link in the video that, he most definitely says that. But then he proposes this as an alternative. And so that's a religious view. And so they're pushing religious views in school. And, that's the real problem here, is that he wants to replace theistic religious views with non-theistic religious views. But he doesn't want to accept that atheism or agnosticism is a religion. And that's why, because if he did accept that, if atheists accept that, or agnostics accepted that, or evolutionists accepted that, and then that became part of culture and, it was defined as a religion more widely, then they would have to exclude these unproven claims of such as abiogenesis from public education. Now, before the Department of Education took over the public school system, and I'll show you a video that I made on public education. But before they took over the education system in 1980, we had very high marks. We had very high ranks in test scores in the world. And since they've taken over, they've put 10 times as much money in. Like it was around $100 million, $150 million that the public education system got from state governments and such. And then the federal government took over, and now they're putting 10 times that. It's over $1 billion a year into public education. Yet, like in science and math and other things, our ranks have dropped like 22 points, 22 ranks down from where we used to be. And so I put that here, like with Common Core, I've shown how, you know, all this extra money and all these extra efforts made by the government has only decreased our ability to learn and has decreased our test scores and has dropped us in the ranks of, oh geez, look at this. We're up to 74,000 views. I don't get a lot of views on my YouTube videos. There's a few that I do. And I think I'm going to start promoting them. I've made them. I haven't really done much to promote them. But I think I should. I think that these lessons, we need to really consider the alternative points of views, because when people are like, oh, we can't have religion in schools, well, what they don't realize is that religion is in schools. If we're teaching evolution and things like abiogenesis that have no proof for them, especially abiogenesis, I'm sure there's some proof of the adaptation that we as species have, you know, in the world, you know, that we adapt. So that would be evolution. That would be, you know, microevolution. But, you know, I don't see any evidence for macroevolution or abiogenesis. And so, see right here, this is the problem. This is from the video that I made. You know, we have dropped from number 1 in the world of education to number 14 in the world for education. And some topics like math and science have dropped 20 ranks or more, 22 ranks for, I think, math. And so anyway, I put this on there. I'll put a link in the description. But this is my problem with atheism and evolution, and the way they insist that, you know, alternative points of view, that you know, widely accepted points of view are not taught in school. I mean, there's roughly, according to Pew Research, there's roughly 4% of the United States that are atheists, that, you know, define themselves as atheist, and only 10% say that they don't believe in God. So 6% are agnostic, 4% are atheist. And yet we've got to cater to them because the way that the education system has been restructured. I think it's Pew Research atheist population. And you'll see it's minuscule, but this is how they're pushing their agenda. And so the problem for me is that it's wrong to push this agenda and not have a, you know, rebuttal to it, you know, or to have expansive points of view. You know, when we limit our education so much, that's when, you know, we are hurting in education. That's when our education falters in this country, or in the country of the United States. I'm not there right now, but in the United States, you know, our education has suffered so greatly since 1980, and that's when the federal government took over, and that's when these new standards were put in place. And some of those standards were to push all religion or anything related to creation out of school. I personally, from what I've researched, do not think that creation has any less evidence than abiogenesis. And so that's my point of view, and I think that's why Aron is so pissed off, and that's why he took, you know, such great lengths to reply to me so much. I mean, between all of the conversations we've had, I think there's over 30,000 words and over 400,000 characters. I'll have to calculate it again, but it's getting close to that anyway. So that's where I'm at with this debate. And I'd be happy to debate him as long as it was a formal debate, and as long as there was rules, and as long as there was a moderator that we could both agree on. Fine, let's do it. But if he's just going to pigeon around and knock all the chess pieces down and claim victory, I have no time for that. Anyway, I'll show the links in the description, and I'll try to put them here on the screen as well. Anyway, peace.